Hello everybody, in this video we have Jon Stewart versus Vice President J.D. Vance. So Jon Stewart, he's a television personality. He's, I would say, on the left. I think he's more of a progressive type of Democrat, but he's a very good communicator on the issues. So he's pretty knowledgeable, and he's actually funny when you watch him. So I think being entertaining, being funny, being charismatic, he's all those qualities, and I think that'll actually greatly help a presidential candidate in an election here, because we've seen before that if you're entertaining, if you're funny, like Trump was, you get a lot of low propensity voters out to turn out for you. Now I think that could work in Jon Stewart's favor here. He's also very committed to like political issues. He helped 9/11 victims get their relief funds through Congress before. So he has a lot of stuff backing him up. He did a lot of good things, and I think that would really help him in a presidential election. I think he'd be a very strong candidate for that reasons. So let's start off with the first few states. I think Florida, it's still long gone. Even with a very good candidate in Jon Stewart, it's still a safe red state. Ohio, it is Vance's home state, but I think Stewart can get those margins down to likely red. Same with Iowa, but they're still out of reach for the Democrats. Nebraska's second to put as likely blue. Honestly, Alaska, I'd maybe even put this state as likely red here. I think Stewart could do decent in Alaska, get it down to a 9-point Republican win. Same with Texas. I think he'd be able to bring it down to a likely red state. With the other few states, I might just set likely blue ones. I think he would win all these by decent margins. New Hampshire and Maine, I also think he would do well in. Again, I think overall progressives do well in those two states. In Virginia, I think it would be a likely blue state. So now we're down to the 7 swing states here. Start off with Arizona. It's the reddest one of them all. I still think it would be lean red. I think most Republicans be able to win this state. I don't think you need like someone from Arizona to really win the state at this point presidentially. Like you need Ruben Gallego, Mark Kelly. Those are like the only candidates that could really win this state. Nevada, though, I think Stewart would do well with independents. I think he would do well with low propensity voters, similar to how Trump did. And I think he'd be able to narrowly win back Nevada, even though there's a big Republican advantage there in terms of registration. I think him winning those independents will be able to flip this state blue again. In North Carolina, it's typically a red state, and I still think it'd go red here, even though Stewart's a pretty good candidate. I still think it'll be about a tilt red state. So in Georgia, I think that Stewart could really win the state here. I think he would do well with independents here, and that'll be just enough for him to win the state. And now we're down to the 3 Rust Belt states. I think Stewart would honestly sweep all 3 states. I don't think Vance would have much of a chance against him. I think Stewart's a lot more populist on the messaging here, and I think a populist message is what wins the Rust Belt here, and I think he would sweep it against J.D. Vance, honestly. I think Vance would probably lose in the debate to Stewart as well, because Stewart went and testified in Congress before, so I think he has a lot of experience in that regard, so I think he would just sweep J.D. Vance here. And honestly, that's a decent win for the Democrats here, because they got a lean blue margin going over the 270 mark. So even if Stewart loses Nevada and Georgia, he still wins through 270 as long as Nebraska doesn't change their electoral rules, which could happen. If Nebraska is second, if the Republicans change it to winner take all, then I think Maine's very likely to change theirs to winner take all, which honestly would just cancel out that effect of changing Nebraska's second from winner take all. So, yeah, this is how I think a presidential election would go between Jon Stewart and J.D. Vance. I think Stewart gets a pretty decent win here, winning through the Rust Belt, while picking off Georgia and Nevada just due to his appeal among independent voters and low propensity voters. But yeah, I think Stewart would be a pretty solid candidate, and yeah, let me know in the comments below you got any suggestions down there. Yeah, and if you're new to this channel, higher than subscribing, I'd greatly appreciate it. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.